Well, it's doubtful you can see me. That's the point. I don't want to be seen. But for you guys, I'll help you out a little bit. And that's the rest of my water.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United
Day 2. I made it. Wasn't the most restful sleep I've ever had. In getting used to sleeping on the ground, granted, nice vegetation, moving blanket definitely provides some cushion, but totally open here. Getting used to that. Being late spring, early summer, didn't really have to cover up with the blanket too much to keep warm, but I'm glad I had it nonetheless. And now the sun's coming up, it's getting pretty toasty in here. So I'm gonna get out and see what the world has for me. Having a little bit of breakfast. Just trying to get the energy back up because I'll be honest, I didn't sleep very well. All I've had is what I ate before I went to the hardware store, plus that Cliff Bar last night. That's all gone. And speaking of all gone, so is my hydration stores. And I'll admit, energy drink is not the best hydration, but it gave me that energy push to get me here, to get where I feel relatively safe. But I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sweating a lot more. It's a lot more humid today. The sun has come and gone, and I would rather not just go out there and just hope that I can get to my home. You know, I could get delayed again. It could be a lot farther distance. There could be more chaos could be happening. You know, roads could be shut down and it might be a lot more dangerous. So I want to make sure that I'm hydrated when I make that journey. And I'm not even sure I want to make that journey during the day. But we'll get to that later. First things first, I'm going to find some water. I'm going to figure out a way how to process that water, which I have a bit of an idea with the can. Then we'll go from there. Well, it may just be a trickle, but it's what I got. And I'm feeling a little bit positive about the quality of water. I'm not seeing any styrofoam, trash, cans, bottles around here. Granted, they could be upstream, I don't see them. There's not a lot of sludge or muck, and it's gonna fill up ye old can with this water, but I'm not gonna drink it straight. Definitely gonna process this. The heat is not letting up. So I'm really glad I found that water source, but I'm gonna have to process it. And one of the main reasons that I got a can was that I can turn this into a hobo stove. That's what I'm gonna do right now. First, I definitely wanna take off this because these can openers can be used for multiple things as well. But now with my knife, let's make a hobo stove. Fire loves oxygen. I decided to keep the top intact because once I get this settled nice flat rock or dirt, the cans mesh. Though, still gonna be watching that. Never made one before. Let's give it a try. All right, well, remember all of that excess paper that came with all of, well, here's the tarp paper. Glad I saved that. Actually, and this is even some thicker paper right here. Utility blanket. I'm gonna put it in there too. Probably one of the easiest fires I'll ever start. The improvised hobo stove worked and was easy to make, but looking back, I could have easily made a tiny little Dakota pit with a tiny little fire and put the can on the coals, because the cans on top of each other were a little precarious and you could only put the tiniest of fuel in the can to feed it. The sun may be out and the hobo stove's doing well. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining. All my gear's in here, nice and staying dry. And, well, that's a turn of events. Hope it doesn't last too long, though on the other hand, my tarp is not completely, there's some dips in it. I might be able to collect some rainwater. That'd be nice. Feeling a bit more hydrated now. And I'm gonna up the ante a little bit. I'm gonna say that it doesn't sound like it's really calm out there. Maybe more sirens, gunshots. And because of that, I'd rather not travel during the day. I got lucky yesterday, you know, it was right when the event happened, but now things have probably amped up even more. People are getting a little bit more crazier. People are realizing that things are not working, and traveling at night would definitely be a better option. So I'm gonna stay here. I got water, I got a way of processing water, I got a little bit more jerky left. I'll just ration that out. But as you can see, though it is low profile, you can easily tell there's a shelter there. So I'm thinking that maybe while I'm here, while I'm laying low, try not to attract attention, I'll grab some of the foliage that's around here and camouflage my shelter a little bit better, so it will never disappear, but it'll be better than it is now. Well, it's not done, but it is getting a whole lot better. Already, if I take a few steps away and give it a gander, it's not as recognizable as it was, but I'm gonna keep on working at it. As I've been camouflaging the shelter, I've been using these branches here with all of the spikes on them, and it actually works really well because the thorns grab onto the tarp, they grab onto each other, you're kind of able to weave them around and build a pretty nice camouflage over top of the tarp rather than, you know, sliding off if you just dump a whole bunch of leaves on and things. But as a bonus, while I've been hacking these down, check this out. Wild red raspberries all over the place. Just come in here. And they are, pop right off. Super ripe. Oh wow. That's better than store-bought. And as you could see, there is tons of them. So that actually boosts me up a little because the jerky is going to run out. Plenty of berries around. Plus, jerky is protein. I need that. But now I got carbohydrates and some sugar and plenty of hydration. Nice little bonus. Of course, still gotta get home. But at least while I'm waiting for dark to come, won't be so bad. Resting now. And enjoying some of the fruits of my labor. So good. I'm very thankful for the extra boost of energy because I'm gonna need it later tonight. But I was just sitting here, just relaxing, keeping my ear open, as always. Got me thinking, where would I be if I didn't have my knife? I wouldn't have been able to make the wooden stakes as easily, or cut all the branches for the camouflage, or make the hobo stove so I could process water. That's a lot right there. Everything that I have was courtesy of having this knife. A good fixed blade knife. And this is the Tops Felony Stop. And I EDC this all the time. Always have it with me. I always have a fixed blade knife with me and a folding knife. And I never even grabbed my folding knife. I always just kept on grabbing this because it just kept on doing work. And it, you know what? It has done a lot of work on this trip. But if you want to know what I think about it, check out the link that's going to be popping up in the corner for the review of the Tops Felony Stop. It's going to need to be cleaned up and sharpened after this, though. Well, I saved you the trouble of watching me pack up, but believe me, I did it really early with there's plenty of light, because with no flashlight and not waiting to make a fire to have light, packing up would be very difficult being dark or dusk. And remember, it gets darker in the woods before it gets darker out here. And speaking of that, there's a lot of cars and it's a little bit too light for my liking to start my journey. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip back right here on the edge, keep an eye out, and then once it gets a little bit darker, I'm gonna get on my way. Well, it's doubtful you can see me. That's the point. I don't want to be seen. But for you guys, I'll help you out a little bit. And that's the rest of my water. In retrospect, thinking this through again, I think I would have gotten one can, and that would have been to boil water in, and then a water bottle that was resealable so I could carry water better. I could, use some paracord to make a little bit of a holster for it on my belt, something to that effect. But it's the first time I've ever done this. Things are going well, making it through, sticking to the shadows, but I may have to use a street or two. We'll see. no matter how hard you try, probably gonna end up on a road. If you do, you're gonna want to face traffic because you'll see their lights long before they see you. And that will give you the opportunity for you to duck in the woods if you don't want to be seen, or to at least avert your eyes. In this situation, it's hard to say whether these street lamps would be on or not. If it's a total grid shutdown, well then they'd be off and that would help you out. But if they're on, well, you're just gonna have to keep your ears and eyes open, like I'm doing. Now normally, I would not be taking a little break underneath a lamppost to talk to you all, but given that it is very, very dark, I thought it'd be easier for you to see me than me constantly holding a lighter up to my face and by the camera. But speaking of light, it's very important that you avoid it. And I know I've been stressing that the entire time while I've been wandering back to my home at nighttime, but it's not just because you can be seen, like you can see me right now, but it's also because of your eyes. You don't want to destroy your night vision. Now, if the power grid was down, more than likely this lamp would not be here and would not be a problem. But, as I've already said, cars might still be operational and they are going to have headlights. And you do not want to lose your night vision because you get blinded by some high beams. Walking on the sidewalk right now, perfectly easy, I can see it. If the light was off, I could more than likely see it very well because I have my night vision. And more importantly, when you decide to go back there into the woods, creeping around, you definitely want to keep your night vision. So even if you have a lighter, even if you have a flashlight, you don't want to use it a lot because you're giving yourself away and you're killing your night vision. Been walking for a while now, and actually, it looks like it might be starting to get close to dawn. That's a really good thing because I don't know if you can tell by the camera, but I am in a neighborhood. More importantly, it is my neighborhood. So no more busy, bustling streets. And as you can tell, lights are on because we don't know what type of disaster it is, but it's really important that you know your neighborhood, know all of the back streets, the back alleys, the backyards, maybe the streams or the drains that are in the area that you can possibly use. But more importantly, you should also know your neighbors, because how are they going to react to the situation? Are you able to cut through their backyard in case of a situation? Or not, because they might be really nervous. But if you want to know more about that, check out the bot that's going to be popping up in the corner. Know your neighbor. Now, luckily, I know mine. And I'm going to take advantage of that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this bug out special. Hope I was able to show you what you can do with a limited amount of money, or let's be honest, the power goes out, you're probably just going to be taking this stuff and going. But again, a little bit that you need, that if you can't get to your day bag in your car, or your car doesn't work and you have to get home for a bug out, what you can actually do with a little bit amount of stuff that you have. And hopefully I was able to show you some safer ways of traversing while you're trying to get back home. So with that, my home is right over there, and I'm gonna go home. And I will see you next time.